thought we would continue into January and we didn't. So the question is, what happens next? Nobody knows, but we'll be watching carefully. So no real buy recommendations here. I would suggest to, coins that you want to DCA into that you may be holding, carefully looking for these zones. Aptos I still like, but and it has this buy zone, so everything's on sale, but we just have to be prepared for potentially lower prices and watching these kind of longer term time frame supports. So Aptos around $5. I think it's a good buy in the long run. And the overall target on this now is a 10x. You make your money like in real estate. You make your money when you buy houses under value, below market. Same thing in crypto. So I'm not saying that Aptos does go this high, but it has potential based on a Fibonacci basis to 10x from here, and potentially a bit more. So it just depends on the market. There is risk, obviously, but the risk reward is in our favor. The reward is in our favor here if you were to buy coins. Let's something like a chart like this. I'm not suggesting Aptos specifically, but I do like this chart. Buying here at $5 and having a stop loss at $4, it's only a 20% drop. That may seem a bit wide for you, but as we know, these markets move around a lot and you can easily get stopped out. So having wider stops can be benefit. Or place your buy orders, let the market come to you. If you put your buy orders in at $5, and down in here, currently we're at around $5. Let's see, where are we down here? This would be $4.50, $4.60. So buy orders in these boxes, 486. Now we're getting into the bit of a weeds. This is more of an M3 conversation, but in this zone, I think over the next month or two, this will sort out and we'll rally hard out of this area. And I think Aptos is a good project, along with some of the ones we've been talking about, like Filecoin, which is a much longer hold. This is the buy zone. Buying Filecoin right in here around $3 and 250, 260. I still think this has huge potential, and in the long run, could be a huge winner. The market cap would have to increase significantly, and adoption would have to be kind of moving over toward this decentralized file storage, but reminding that AWS is the most profitable segment of Amazon. Doesn't mean this happened overnight, guys. This is for sure a retire rich play, but even back up to near the old highs is a 40x from these regions down here, and potentially on the long run, I'm not saying we get there, but if we are looking for a phantom coin repeat, for me, Filecoin checks the boxes. It has a real world business, has investors, has a monetization model, and a strong one that could generate profits. So maybe this happens next cycle. Certainly that would be a huge increase. So going up to 800 from 2, not likely, you guys. But all along the way, take profit zones. This would be a good one to start packing away a couple $1,000s worth, whatever's comfortable for you. Again, risk reward is in our favor. If it starts to lose, say, $2.40 and lose this long-term trend line, then sell half. But these are the ones that have the greater potential to go higher, versus many of these coins that are pure speculation, have some utility, not likely to make money or have utility in the long run. So, and we can see these kind of long-term trend lines on Filecoin. So, full disclosure, these are coins I own. I'm not trying to pump coins that I own. I own them because I like them. Therefore, I'm recommending them for these reasons. And so you guys can kind of read between the lines there. I don't have large positions in these. I did sell half positions on all these alts back here when things were weakening so that I could buy back lower. INJ, I just bought back a little bit more. Not ready to recommend these because they are sort of still dropping and oversold, but not showing green signals yet. So he was looking interesting. I'm just kind of run the bases, you guys, because I don't have any specific buy recommendations. I wouldn't be dumping everything around here, but if we start losing key trend line supports, consider it, and selling half. I don't recommend selling all out of anything unless just things are looking pretty bleak and it looks like a red summer. SUI has pulled back into its golden pocket, rallied out of that nicely, but rejected at the 50-day EMA. At this point, SUI, I'm not sure. It's going to maneuver and bounce around like the rest of the market. I'm not happy to see some of these signals turning red. But you know what? It's kind of like sit tight and chill, as Mike says, or stay long and chill. ICP is down in as a buy block. I'm dabbling in these, but for sure my largest position right now is Solana. I don't want to be managing a lot of positions here. I've been DCA buying in. I just put a buy limit order in on Helium coin at $2.45. Again, buying in the midpoint of these buy blocks. Think of these as the concentration of buyers. We're visualizing the buy orders on the order books. So these aren't some magical, mysterious projection and Fibonacci kind of thing. These are actual buy orders. So buying where the buyers are, selling where the sellers are, has been a pretty good strategy, and then using everything else we have to kind of support that. But because there's uncertainty right now, I would be careful. I think, some like Ondo, which we've been waiting for to reverse for a long time now, are sitting at key support levels. We've got some bullish divergence on the RSI. I'm going fairly quickly, and you will cover this again, but there's not much more to say. If you really wanted to start and you had some powder dry putting buy limit orders on these, if we get a big capitulation drop, those are some of the best and most profitable trades when you have trades down in these zones at support, and if we get a capitulation sell-off and it wicks down into them, and then usually it reverses overnight. And as much as I hate to say this for your sake, often a big capitulation drop is the best thing for the market. Back here, kind of a big sell-off, bounced out of this region. So this is when things are clear as mud. We can draw lines in the sand all day long, but there's just kind of no way to know. It's the Russian doll analogy. Those little wooden Russian dolls where you have the smaller one with the other one wrapped around it, and the one wrapped around it, and then the bigger one. Well, think of the bigger one as that macro economic footprint, where things are, money supply, what's going on in the economy and fears, etc. That's going to encompass the rest of these. But below that is sort of the markets and the narratives that are strong. Below that is the individual coins. So, and then within that, there's the charts. So, something along those lines. And right now, very much the macro is in control. So no surprises there. Coming down to stacks. Stacks is looking interesting here, but it's been very disappointing. And this is probably my worst trade of the year, although I was selling out up in here. You have to be kind of willing to manage your trades. It was a great looking long-term macro trend, up, down, up, down. We were buying in this region. Started to lose this, held at support here, but I was recommending taking partial losses and stop losses around in here because it's a downtrending channel formed. Now, at some point, this will reverse, and it's a good reminder that we don't want to get married to individual narratives of the coins. It's show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. So at some point, this will start to reverse. It might be here. If you want to add some stacks here, that's fine. Put buy limit orders down around 45 cents down in this region, because if it can go back to near where it used to be, and I'm not saying it does, but stacks makes Bitcoin better. They usually rallies with Bitcoin. So in this line, we could see these are some of the projections for stacks, even to get back to the old highs. That wasn't the tool I wanted to use, but from here to old highs here would be a 4x, so 400%. And that's not even the old highs. That would be just to this region. And if you were to sell some there and come in, I've got to grab this tool here again, and haul it back to the old highs, 5x. But if this thing is able to rally back, and these are big ifs, but if Bitcoin's going to 200K, 250K, potentially, we don't know. This has 10 to 15x potential, you guys. Let's just say here, even 12x. So again, it's hardest to buy when there's blood in the streets. This is that time. These are the ranges to be buying. If you want to be buying into strength after the bounce, certainly that is valid strategy, or when our signals start to go green. And I think both are what I usually do is both. Look for areas I would want to buy in these buy blocks, dabble in, get in the game, start buying back, but then we start turning bullish and our signals go green. That's where I'm doubling down and adding to those positions and trying to buy low, sell high. So easier said than done, I know. Other than that, I was considering putting a buy order on SuiPad. We were looking at that yesterday. It's just with the overall market looking so weak, it's not something I want to consider. Jumping over to the Inner Circle watch list, and if you guys have any questions here, I can't really see the chat, so let me see if I can find this. And I'm running on new keyboard here, so I think it's Alt H. Yeah, there it is. So I don't see any chat questions. Just to skim through this, AI is just not there yet. There's a lot happening in the AI world, but the bigger companies and the ones making money are direct to retail, direct to consumer, not in the decentralized world. So, look, Render, again, set your alerts where you might like to buy these things. To come all the way back down on these ranges here, where would I like to own Render? Maybe $2.40. So I'm starting to set my alerts. But because they don't have revenue models and potential for profits just yet, or customers that are going to drive this, I think I would really aim for lower targets and not just set buy alerts. Set alerts, but don't set buy limit orders just yet, because this whole industry, if we are heading into a bear market, and I say that with the possibility, like in 2013, we had a bear market and then a second bull market. And so judged by going down 80%, 85%, now that was when this was still very much a nascent industry. So I'm not saying that those levels and those percentages would pan out, but let's just take a look at it. I mean, are we in an altcoin bear? We're down 78% on these. If we came down in here, it would be 80%. These are the levels to hold some powder to start buying them and waiting for that turn. Because, as Mike said, and I think everyone agrees, there's so much tailwind, strong tailwinds behind all this, strategic reserves at the state and government level, other countries standing by. There's a lot of money on the sidelines waiting for the right time. And those of you that have some powder dry or can free up some dry powder, you might be down quite a bit in your altcoins, I understand. But fortune favors the brave, and all we can do is sort of add, not as a degenerate and double down like at a blackjack table. I don't gamble. Maybe a little roulette. I'll play birthdays. That's a good tip, by the way. Usually works. I won some money on the cruise. But just a little bit, $100, 100 here and there for fun. Otherwise, don't be gambling and just keep doubling down, but with a intelligent strategy, line up with the buyers, set buy limit orders in these zones. When it does turn, if we have another bull market this year, and certainly I don't think we're heading into the long-term bear, then that's where this is really the thesis of this class, and being able to retire rich, buying at these low levels, and but not buying into these degenerate coins like Polygon is just, I think it's dead, honestly. I hate to say that. I haven't had any Polygon for a long time, but I just don't see, these are the ones that the narratives have sort of slowly died. If you have Polygon here, I don't know if it's worth selling, but it's broken key support. Polygon had ZK rollups, which was a layer 2 for transaction speeds, or was it a layer 3? It was not, it was proposing fast transactions, but now they can do that on the layer 1, and like Sui, Solana, and the layer 2s like Firedancer that's coming out soon, and Polkadot's another strong layer 1 that has parachains, which can do sort of multiple chains, sort of like on a server having the server, what's the term, when they first came out, with having multiple servers kind of in parallel. So that technology is going to dictate a lot of these things. So a point is, stay away from these that it just really aren't in the strong narrative, that people you can see in the charts are not really working well, and stick with market leaders. There are other people in the cloud storage, like storage, STORJ, but these second tiers aren't going to perform well until the tier ones are really going strong. So I would stick with market leaders like Filecoin and Helium. There's a rumor, unconfirmed, and I'm going to hop off here and jump onto a Helium call they have every Thursday, but that they're going to move off of the Solana blockchain back to their own blockchain. And so buying Helium around $2.40, $2.45, I think that's probably a good long-term hold, but not holding lots of it, maybe 1,000 coins or so. If it goes from $2.40 to $240, guess what? You're happy. Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals, or our live classes every Wednesday, or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.